Hello, everybody. This is Nikki. And if you're joining me tonight, thank you very much. I'm doing my free workshop. Like I said, I haven't done one in a long, long while. So I hope that once you get on here, that you will enjoy yourself. So take control of life with depression and anxiety. So welcome to my free workshop. If you do join, please type your name and where you're located. And then what we'll do tonight is we're going to do a grounding technique. So, what exactly is a grounding technique? And this is just a technique to get you calmed down and um, hold on here. I brought my laptop up here so I could. It's just an exercise that helps you focus on the present moment, and it can help you manage any kind of overwhelming feelings that you or emotions that you may be having. And it's supposed to be help you reduce stress. So I there's some that I do. One is just pretty easy. You just do the one I do all the time is the deep breathing one. So you just inhale, hold, and exhale, hold. So you just do that several times. And some people will do um, what they'll do is take their shoes off and stand on the grass out in the yard. That's another grounding technique. Or just um, put your hands on something like a tree or grass. You can do that too. But the one that I like to do is just focusing on your breathing, where you breathe in, hold it, and then exhale. Breathe in and then exhale. Okay. So that just helps you get control of the moment and helps you focus and release some of that anxiety that you may be feeling. So, discover what we're going to do is discover what's really holding you back and how to move forward with clarity and purpose. So, um, these are things that I do in my own life, and I know that they will help you in your life. Um, my favorite thing to say is it's not rocket science, but it is hard work. Some of these things are habits that you have to practice, and sometimes um, we don't want to practice. We don't want to do things over and over. So, for people that are like us that have um, depression and anxiety, we have to work harder. We have to work harder to get the things done that we need to achieve in our life. So I just want to make sure this is supposed to be live on YouTube. I just want to check real fast and make sure that it is working. I'm sure it is. So, as like I said before, if you come on late, just type in your name and where you're from, and then we'll get started here. Let me. I just want to go to my channel. Oh, yeah, it's working. Okay. Alrighty then. So let's get started. So, what we want to do is identify the root cause. And sometimes we have these hidden blocks in our life that will prevent us from identifying the root cause of our depression, anxiety, or what's holding us back. A lot of those hidden blocks are fear of failure, perfectionism, old stories, shame, and fatigue. These are just a few of the things that I listed. So, what is your hidden block? Can you think of something in your life that prevents you from being successful and getting the things done that you need to get done in your life? Um, Fear of failure. So, like, I am afraid to try new things because I'm afraid that I won't succeed. Another one is perfectionism, which really gets me all the time because I don't like to make mistakes and I don't like for people to point out my mistakes, even though I know they're just trying to help me. Um, but I I just don't like it. I get upset when someone points out that I've made a mistake. Either because I was not paying attention or maybe because I didn't know everything I needed to know about the situation and I reacted just on the information that I knew. So, old stories, things that are um, happen in our past that could keep us from doing the things that we need to move forward with, or there's shame. A lot of us have shame in our life from things that have happened to us. Um, and so those are some of the things that will keep us from identifying the root cause, or they could be the root cause of our problems that we have. Um, Hold on here. I just want to. Maybe you can see the chat. I don't know. So, um, yeah. And then there's fatigue. When we suffer from depression, we have a lot of things that hold us back. My podcast that's going to be coming out that I recorded is talks about how you're not lazy, but how your depression uh, takes your motivation because there's physical things that happen to you when you're depressed. And so that's why um, when we have depression, that it can keep us from moving forward in our life. So once we identify what is a common hidden block, then that is going to help us um, move forward. So, so the number one thing that I like to use is the power of the brain dump. And if you have to get a scrap piece of paper, because we're going to do this, live because that's what we do. We practice what we preach. So let me move this out of the way. So the power of the brain dump. So what could be keeping you from moving forward is excessive, what they call excessive stimuli. So you can have clutter, both physical and mental. This can bombard the senses with too much information. This overstimulation can make it difficult to relax and unwind, leading to increased anxiety. You could have difficulty focusing. So, a cluttered environment distracts the brain, making it harder to concentrate on tasks and leading to a sense of being overwhelmed and mentally foggy. I've been there. If you've been there, um, I'm sure you've been there because I've been there. Feelings of being overwhelmed. When we're surrounded by clutter, the brain may perceive it as unfinished business or a lack of control, leading to anxiety and stress. So, when I went through a really bad depression in 2020, part of that feeling of like being out of control in my life was my house was really, really cluttered. And so I decided that I needed to figure out a way to take care of that. But, a lot of people think that they can just go through their house in one day and just clean it, um, especially a 2-story house. And I, I mean, I wanted to do that, but I couldn't. So what I did was I just started with one room at a time, and in that room, I started in the kitchen first because that was the one room that was really getting to me, and I just started with one drawer, and, and then I went to one cabinet, and I found that I had 2 of 3 of the same items, and I didn't need all of those items. I just needed one of each. And then there was items that I had that I hadn't even used. They were brand new, never been used. Um, some things I kept thinking that I might still use them, and other things I got rid of. By the time I made it through my whole house on the first, major declutter, it was a small semi, not semi, but like a half semi, whatever that small truck is called, full of furniture and items, kitchen items, bedding, clothing, because I had clothing hanging up in almost every closet in this house. And I had clothing in drawers. I had clothing packed away in boxes. And I couldn't believe I had that much clothing. And I had shoes. I had shoes to go with every outfit. And I had purses. So, and then there were some items I went through. They were really hard for me to even think about getting rid of because they might have been somewhat sentimental. So I didn't even think about those items. I just put those back and just moved on because I didn't want that to stop me. Because I knew that in the end, I was going to do the decluttering again. That's what I was going to do. So, but the the goal of the story is the point of the story is to tell you that it helped my mind so much that I had taken on that task and gotten rid of so many items in my house. Um, so, um, and that's why I keep doing it. I'll stop for a few months and then I'll start decluttering again. I don't have as much stuff now. I still feel like I have a lot, but um, I don't have as much as that first time. But the relief of it, you know, not having that much to inventory to handle has been a lot easier on my brain. So, clutter can trigger negative emotions like guilt, shame, embarrassment, especially when you feel out of control or when you're inviting others over. So, if you have so much stuff in your house, um, it's like you feel guilty or you're ashamed because you can't keep it clean. Well, there's just too much for you to handle. There's just too much inventory there. And so we as people need to get rid of some of that, especially items that we're not using or have no value to us. So it can interfere with your relaxation. So a cluttered space can make it harder to relax and can disrupt sleep, further contributing to anxiety and stress. So I don't know how many times I've laid in bed at night so tired knowing that I needed to get to sleep, but I didn't get, my house wasn't clean the way I liked it. You know, when you're a young adult and you first move out on your own, you don't hardly have anything. And I just remember how less stressful I was back then, that once you get married and then you have kids and then your kids grow up and they leave or come back and then you get remarried and you gather theirs, you get their spouse's stuff and you put everything together. I mean, by the kids, my time my kids were adults and they left, I mean, this house was full of everything. And I always thought it was a good thing to have a house full of things because if anybody needed anything, they could just come over and ask me for it. Well, no one ever came over and asked me for anything. So I'm like, why am I holding on to this stuff? Well, I don't need to. We don't need to have it. Um, so then this has a direct impact on relationships. You can have disagreements about clutter and its impact can create tension between you. It can cause conflict within families or your relationship with your spouse. And so the thing about when I started doing this, I left my husband's stuff alone, you know, and there was some stuff that the boys had left. And so I left that alone. I dealt with my things only. But then when it got to time, and then once I took care of the boys' things, I asked them what they wanted to keep, or what they wanted to get rid of. And then once I got to my husband's stuff, because he was like, "You're not gonna." I mean, he didn't want me to touch his stuff. Well, then once I just started going through it, and the method I use now is the Space Maker method. And she's on YouTube. Her name's April, and she's fabulous. Because the way she does it is for each. It's like customized for each person the way she does it. So what you do is you just gather everything and then you decide, is this keep, donate, or trash? And so if you keep it, you put it back. If it's donate, you put it in a donate pile, or if it's trash, like it's broken, you got to get rid of it. So that's what I did with my husband, and we went through all of his stuff, his clothing, his personal items, and he's really, really felt much better after we went through all his things. He couldn't believe how much relief he got from that whole experience of us going through his items. And then once whatever items you have left, then you organize those items so that you can see what you have and what you're keeping. So that's the power of the brain dump. Um, so, um, so what we're going to do is just in your mind, um, or those are things that causes clutter, I should say. So I like to do first is make a list. Whatever pops in my head, you just jot down a short list, and then that's the list that we will go from. And it could be things you need to do, or it could be feelings that you're having. It could be things that you wish you hadn't done or you want to do, or just a chore list. So usually, by the time you get through with your list, you've got a pretty good thing. And sometimes something may be on there, and you're like, "That's the weirdest thing. I don't know why that's on there," but it could be the root cause of what's keeping you from going forward and dealing with your depression and anxiety. So, so I've just got a piece of short paper and a pencil. You can use a pen, you can use, plain paper, whatever. So we're just going to take a few minutes here and I will time us. So let me get the timer up. Let me find it for us. I should have already had this ready, but I didn't. So the clock, we'll just do 5 minutes. And so as you can see, I've got 5 minutes on here. We'll start and then just write down what comes to mind. And then we'll go over those. Here, I'll play some music while we're sitting here waiting. Okay, it's at the 2 minute. Okay. I hope you did participate in that. Um, I did. I do it all the time. So, um, alrighty here. Let's see. Okay. So, group share. To put the world in order, we must first put the nation in order. To put the nation in order, we must put the family in order. To put the family in order, we must cultivate our personal life. And to cultivate our personal life, we must first set our hearts right. Then there's another quote. I personally think if something's not a challenge, there's no point doing it because you're not going to learn much. The only thing to do with good advice is to pass it on. It is never of any use to oneself. So, why did I put these quotes up here? I put these quotes up here so that we could share some of the things that we're struggling with in our brain dump. So, hello, Marilyn. So, that's actually my mother. Oh, what did I do? So, so, um, so what I did here are some of the things that I put down on my brain dump. Yours is probably different. If you could probably post some of the things that you want to share. Um, so most of mine is pull weeds, take care of my flowers, plant my ferns, paint the bathroom. So this one, we got our bathroom remodeled last winter, and I part of the agreement was to save money was I would paint it myself. Well, I haven't even painted it yet. Um, I've been feeling frustrated lately. I've had some insecurities. Some things have happened at my work, so it's been bothering me. Oh, I went back to cutting down the branches. Called my sisters. Two of my sisters I haven't even talked to in forever. And then one of my friends that I've been friends with for a long time. We used to go out to eat at least once a month, but her mother passed away and she's been having to help her dad. And he's in his 90s. So her parents had been together for, I mean, like 70 something years. So and then she passed away. It was really hard on him. Um, I have cleaned my car, learned to I have a nice camera. I do not know how to use it. I know how to do some things with it, but not everything. Um, dust my bedroom, make more money. So these are just some ideas that, um, like that I've done for my brain dump. Your brain dump may be completely different. It may not be more of like a chore list. It could be something, that would be more emotional. When I did my very first brain dump with my coach back in 2021, I think it was, my brain dump, I just cried when I um, would um, read it. So I think I might have it in here. I, of course, kept all my stuff from coaching. Yeah. So some of my things I had was um, my mental health, my poor sleeping. I wasn't eating right. Taking my medications, going to bed every night, creating a morning routine, exercising, getting therapy. So that's facing some fears. One of the fears I have is I'm afraid of heights, and you can include bugs in that. So I just wrote down some things that, and uh, that wasn't the very first one I've done, but when you go back and look at the different um, brain dumps that you've done, hopefully when you're on your self improvement journey, that it gets better and better. You know, each list doesn't feel as devastating as the very first one that you've done. So, so mom, did you do a brain dump list? I don't know if she's still listening, but if you did, what's some of one of the things you have on there? She might answer. Okay, we'll see if she answers here in a minute. Okay, so let's move on. If you don't know, Oscar Wilde is an author. I've read some of his books, they are pretty good. The last one I read, I don't remember the name of it, but it was about these people that ended up in this lifeboat together. They had been on a yacht, the yacht blew up. And so there was these different kinds of people, all different personalities and characters that were on this lifeboat. And oh, okay. So one of hers is making her, she's trying to make her bed every day. So yeah, that was one that um, Glenn and I wasn't doing, and then we started doing, and then we slack off again, and we're doing it. We've been making it the bed again. It just when you walk in your bedroom and your bed's made, it just seems so much calmer in there, you know. And so I do like to make sure that our bed is made. So, so back to the story. So all of these different people from different walks of life and personalities, um, it's just in the beginning you think there's no connection between them. They're just some of these people are just there to see this rich person on this lifeboat or on this yacht, and in the end, um, it ends up that they're more connected than what we thought they were. So it was a I thought it was a pretty good story. It started off kind of slow, if I remember right. But yeah, so Oscar Wilde wrote that one. Then the other guy, he's just a actor that I've seen. But when I was looking up quotes to share, his came up. So So toward the end, we're at toward the end, so we're going to wrap up. And so, what I want you to do on your own is prioritize your brain dump list by categories. So you're going to put what's urgent for you, like what is that thing at the top of your list that won't quit pestering you, and then categorize what's important and then what's draining. You know, when you look at your list, and I look at my list and I see frustration and insecurities, um, you know, one of those is it's just a draining thought for me. I don't want to do it. I don't want to mess with it. I don't want anything to do with it. And then there's one that's avoided. So, um, So one of the things I've been doing is I've been avoiding painting my bathroom. That's one thing. Or you could be avoiding, you know, that thing that's causing you frustration. Or what is that thing that's causing you insecurity, you know? So so just go through tonight real quickly and categorize those. And then once you're done with that, what's the one task on this list that would bring you the most relief if I finished it? So, what would be the most? I have a couple on here. I know that once I get them done, I'm like, oh, thank goodness I finally finished this stupid thing, you know. So, um, let me pull up my, make sure I went over everything I had on my list. So, when let's just jump back a little bit because I did forget a couple things. So we do want to understand the root cause of why we're being stuck and overwhelmed. Um, so what keeps showing up when you try to move forward? So since we've done the brain dump, what one of these things has kept you from moving forward in your life? You know, what is that thing that you feel like is keeping you from, bringing your best that day? I mean, I could automatically see some on my list that would keep me from moving forward. Um, it could be more than one thing, you know. Oh, wrong mouse. I shouldn't have two computers up here. So, but I do have some questions that have been submitted, and I'd like to go over some of them before we finish up. So, oh no, that's going to be. So um, so what have you noticed about doing the brain dump? And I mean, was it hard or was it easy? Did you have like a lot of, um, thoughts just rushing out of your head, or was it hard? It was always hard for me to do one. And it still is kind of hard. And that's just because of my brain is always active and it's always got stuff going through it. So it's hard for me to, like hone in and focus. So it's really hard for me to do a brain dump, but I always continue to do them, because once you get all your thoughts down, it helps you create that list. And then when you work, say for instance, you decide to work with a coach, then that coach can use that list of things for you two to work on together. Some things are, you can do on your own, but then there's other things that you may not even know how to start that task. You may not even know how to get yet, but move in, you know. So a coach can help you take that step, in getting started. So have you ever worked from a brain dump list? If you have, then you're already ahead of the game. If you haven't, then I would suggest you start practicing this because I didn't. And and you can use this list for any little thing, and you can be specific about it. Say for instance, you're cleaning your car and you don't know where to start with your car. So you would make a list, a brain dump list about your car. So you want to clean your car, you want to clean the outside, you want to clean the windows, you want to wipe down the seats or vacuum, you want to vacuum inside, you want to wipe down the dashboard. So that would be a list that you would make um, for you on where to start with your car. You want to clean out the trunk, you want to clean out the glove compartment. So that's just something easy, that I can think of. But, if you need to clean out your closet, I mean, then you would want to go. For me, I would pull everything out and I would go through my hang up clothes first. Do I want to keep this, donate it, or trash it? Depending on like if something's broke, it can't be fixed, then you don't want to, or you can donate it for someone to use it as material to make something else. I mean, if you know somebody like that. Um, so, And then once you figure out what you're keeping, you put everything back, but you organize it. So I have my clothes organized in a certain way. I have my dresses, I have my skirts, I have my pants, I have my like jackets and cardigans, and then I have my long sleeve shirts, I have my short sleeve shirts, I have my sleeveless shirts, and then I have my tank tops, and then I have belts, and then my coat or my outside jackets. So I have all of that in um, in order, so I know where I can go to get what I need to wear. Um, Things like that help you, especially when you're getting dressed in the morning and you don't have that much time. We don't want to think about what we have to wear, you know. So then if you have, something on your top shelf of stuff, you go through that, whatever it is that you're keeping up there, you just go through each item. Just make sure you don't have to get rid of anything. I mean, you don't have to get rid of anything at all. You can keep it all. But when you go through that, you want to touch each item. Just touch it and make sure you know, okay, this is what I have in this bag, or this is what I have in this tote. And so you fold it back up, put it back in the tote if that's where you're keeping. Then you can go through your shoes. You decide, you touch each pair of shoes, whatever they are they still in good condition? Am I still going to wear these? Do they still fit? Um, am I keeping them, donating them, or am I throwing them away? And so then once you've done that, then you put that back. I don't know what else people have in their closets. I have my shoes stacked underneath, and then I have gray tips because my clothes are hanging up in my laundry room. So, um, but anyway, so those are some things that you can do, um, with a brain dump list, and it could be an emotional brain dump list. Like mine has. I've been feeling frustrated. I've been feeling insecure. I've been, you know, crying, and I've been aggravated or sad. So you make that brain dump list of emotions that you've been feeling lately. And then, if you have someone that you can work with, like a coach, then they can go through each one after you categorize them, go through each one and talk about those things. Or if you have a therapist that you go to, you can take that list and say, here are the feelings that I've been feeling this week, you know, and then you can, you know, you're already ahead of the game because you already know the emotions that you've been feeling. And so you can already talk to your therapist or coach and be like, okay, this is what I've been going through and I need help with this. Um, so we talked about why a cluttered mind creates anxiety. I can't even think straight. So one thing I did when I this new job that I have, I've been there since April 28th. I finally got a desk to sit at, and it was set up the way the previous person um, has set it up, and they had retired. So, so what I did was I didn't want to get rid of anything that I thought I might need for the job. So I just went through and organized it and touched it and made sure that I was able to, I knew what was at the desk, and they had notes everywhere. And so one by one, when I felt like a note wasn't needed anymore, I got rid of it. Or I just retyped it out because I thought I will need this note. So I retyped it out so it's much nicer. I got rid of a bunch of just old documents that weren't needed anymore. I found out what we had to keep and what we didn't have to keep, and went from there. So now the desk is a lot nicer, it's a lot simpler, and there's not a lot of clutter on it because there was a ton of clutter on it when I first moved over there when I took up, you know, residence. So, so then, So if you have any questions, you can email me at nikkiasherbowlingcoaching@gmail.com. And I hope that this information is been helpful for you. I will be back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. and we'll go over day 2. And I hope that you'll categorize your brain dump and then pick the one thing that is like a priority, like this thing has to get done no matter what. And so if you haven't commented, you can watch it on, it'll be on YouTube again, and you can comment on YouTube. Um, so if you don't want to make an account, you don't have to. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. And I am so glad that you came to join me tonight. And please, if you have any questions, get a hold of me and I would love to answer them. Thank you. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.